how this game does play out. I do believe we're going to jump into draft very, very soon. So we'll get to see just what these teams are looking to do as we enter this first ban phase. Is there anything you think might be taken away? Anything that's particularly worrisome, or anything that looks like it could be a big pressure point?
Well, I mean, we have a Darius one trick, so that's not getting through. That's immediately off the table. So, as anyone who has ever played a competitive game with Champ Select will know, if there is a one trick, it will be banned. That is the law of one tricks. So don't be surprised if that one's immediately taken off the table, as well as these more meta-based champions like the Yuumi, which we have seen go, and that Wukong.
I used to work with a Riven one trick, and once on a it was one of our first games on stage. They decided to let Riven through. Needless to say, it was a 20-minute game.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens, right? Is that you don't let people who have got so prolific, so skillful add a specific champion through, because they know how to play the matchups better than anyone else will on the Rift. So you take that with a pinch of salt, and that's why we do see both banned out. And Ezreal being the priority. Now, this is something that has fallen down a little bit in AD carry tier lists, but it's going to get locked in.
Not sure how I feel about having it taken as first pick, especially when the likes of the Yuumi have been taken away. Like to see Ezreal Karma. It's a solid lane. The Karma can be flexed relatively easily. Will be responded to by the Ashe. And Viego is also up and available.
It has been something that TF7SG has pivoted towards a lot, though, so maybe that's perhaps the reasoning behind that. They want something comfortable with their AD. Maybe then they can play more of a roaming style on the support position. And with this Ezreal into the Ashe, it's a very interesting lane. I'm kind of excited to see where that will go, but this Trundle already locked in, known to be a counter to the Viego very much, a duelist that can take him to town and scales relatively well, and a blind Aatrox. This is a very strange season we are playing.
Yeah. It's very rare to see Aatrox blind, especially given the fact that things like Gnar were still available. But if this guy's half as good at Aatrox as he is at Darius, then I have a feeling that it being blind ain't gonna matter.
I mean, one might say it could be an atrocious mistake.
That's it. We're done.
Anyway, but yeah, historically Gnar is known to be a decent matchup into the Aatrox. There's also other routes you can go, like the GP, but the Gnar is going to be a very strong lane bully. You can't really do much as the Aatrox. You just sort of get outranged and poked down when he's in that mini form, and he can often provide more in the Mega as well when it comes to team fighting aspects, especially in the crowd control department. As the Ashe earlier was picked, well, the Draven gets locked in, so we're seeing Ashe support coming through here for the Eagles.
Or we're seeing a Draven mid lane.
I blooming hope we don't see blind Draven mid lane. That sounds giga grief.
That's into an Echo, so I mean, it's possible. That's not a bad matchup for the Draven.
I mean, Echo blind is also a questionable one, so we're getting a lot of strangeness coming through, and
if we see this,
I mean, it could be spicy. That's all I'm going to say. I've been running the Taliyah as my matchup of choice into the Echo. As I say that, instantly, yeah. So there's some logic behind this, and it's the change to Taliyah's E specifically.
You can't dash on you.
Can't dash on you. So essentially it becomes a range game where as soon as Echo presses the first part of his E, you drop the stones around you. Like in front of you, you walk into them, he's going to dash over those to hit you, and you can just knock him off with your W, and then you're back into playing the range game again. So, and guess what? Range champ versus melee champ, Q is a low CD, you're going to win that all day long. So it feels like a great matchup for the Taliyah. On top of that, you have roaming capabilities, so Echo just has to sort of exist until the late game where he can scale into a side lane against you, but by then it feels like the game's already over in the current meta. So I really like this matchup for the Taliyah, and I think it's a really good pickup by the Eagles.
Just hit me. We're seeing a Gragas support paired up with this Ezreal. We talked about maybe seeing a roamer. This is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I also think Gragas support versus an Ashe Draven lane doesn't sound particularly enjoyable. Yes, you have built-in sustain yourself, but you don't really get the chance to engage effectively in this matchup because of stand aside being a relevant factor for Draven, as well as you losing that poke war of attrition that goes down. So it's a difficult one, I think, for 7SG. I think I like what the idea that they were going for, but they might have five-headed it a little bit too much here.
Hang on. That Draven, that's not being played by the AD carry. That's being taken by... Oh, no, never mind. They're just not in order.
Oh, you just got amateur leagued there pretty hard, didn't you? That's
so upset.
That's the classic. You see, we don't do that here. Players don't do that here. We're not in we're not in the LEC here. We don't do role order. That's just a myth. As Jules is getting a little bit of trading.
Darius carries you. I love loving the name. Thank you, production, for rearranging the Eagles bot lane for me. Otherwise, that confusion probably would have continued throughout the entirety of the game. So, how do you think the first couple of minutes of the game are going to go? How are people going to path? What are we expecting to see?
So it's an interesting one, right? Because on the red side of the rift, you're feeling pretty good about your mid bot side as well as your top. I think it's 3 essentially winning lanes that they've got themselves. But this time around, Menacing Bob does have the opportunity to gank. I'd like to see them maybe either path towards the bottom side and try to punish effectively this Draven, shut down those stacks early. Alternatively, you can just say no to that, go top side, try and get your Aatrox into the game. The issue with that, though, is that you're playing Aatrox versus a bunch of champions that can really outrange you. So personally, I'd like to see Menacing Bob path to that bottom side, try to get this Draven shut down early. Maybe then you can use your Ezreal and their poke in the later stages to really win out a bit more. On the flip side, I think Silence has a lot more options. Maybe you play through mid, use your W into the Unraveled Earth Seismic Shove combo for the Taliyah to just get Ghost ahead, and then Ghost can start moving wherever the hell they want to.
Of course, this Taliyah, once they have that Weaver's Wall, can be everywhere all at once. But until then, that looked like a flash for some reason. My brain registered it as a flash. That wasn't a flash.
Was that the low cooldown flash that Ezreal has?
No, it was the low cooldown flash that Echo has.
Ah, I see. So many of them in this game, you know.
Ezreal, Echo. I think that's it.
Oh, here's something that we have seen a lot of actually. I've been playing a lot of the Taliyah as Ghost. Does get their flashball in the mid lane potentially. Could get return ganked now by Menacing Bob in the future, so well played by the Trundle. It's actually going to be not the Unsealed Spellbook, which we have tended to see on that Taliyah, but we're going to see some action the bottom side now. Sonny.
Joris going very, very low, forced to flash away. The Ignite will tick. It doesn't look like quite enough. Silence now coming in on the side. Luck and Puya too low to do anything. Bob is able to just melt through this Viego's health bar. The Spectral Maw does land. Bob's forced to flash. Silence is forced to flash. First blood goes over to the Ezreal as Choris and Sunny having to back off. Choris so close to that. It's a double kill for the Ezreal off the back of the red buff that they just picked up from Silence.
Yeah, the belly bopping ain't stopping. Nice kills there in the bottom side as Lugnum does find a 2-man stun there to come through in order to block that one up. And now Ghost is in trouble getting run down. Remember, that's a flashless Taliyah. Menacing Bob having so much impact in these early stages.
And we really start to see just how strong an early game this game can have, especially with that Trundle Gragas duo. You can look to this bot lane and you can just force someone to take a full Gragas combo just by putting the pillar down. We see there Choris forced to flash before Bob even gets close to the fight, which just makes it easy pickings once the fight goes a bit too long.
Yeah, the Bob's looking pretty strong here. The Mega Minion, if you will, for the side of the Sins is really showing up in the early game and kind of has to, right? It really needs to be that playmaker in the early stages and hasn't really had to suffer too much, is up those 2 assists, but only down a little bit in terms of those jungle camps. And with the routing available, is actually going to be ahead. So fantastic work coming in from Bob here in these early parts.
Absolutely. I mean, we were kind of talking about how this Taliyah had opted for the first strike beforehand, and this Trundle just makes it so that isn't really an option. If the Taliyah doesn't proc it, the pillar will remove it on the spot. I mean, Spellbook, first strike, airy, electrocute, we see it all think first strike, especially in this game when there's so many people looking to kill you, is possibly the worst choice of them all, as the pillar will stop Ghost dead in their tracks. They will fall. Bob will take that for himself. He says, I've had 2 taken already. I'm not losing a third.
And Ghost is just a bit too slow there as well to drop down the E in order to maybe buy a little bit of space, buy a bit of time with the stun. Doesn't even stun the Gragas, so it's just a bit too easy. And now they can look for this multi-man invade. Silence is in trouble.
Silence, just a stone's throw away from death without the ultimate available. Bob will pick up his second kill of the game, 100% kill participation so far, and will take the dragon to boot. As you mentioned, Ghost's unraveled Earth a little bit too slow, not quite able to stop either Luck or God dashing on top of them there.
There was a bit of a knot in it, so they couldn't unravel it properly. It was a bit, it was a bit stuck together. Perhaps the soil was a little bit too dry this time around.
I'd imagine so. I'm trying to remember what the Tilia Q is called, and I just can't. Threaded volley, that's it.
Absolutely. Here's a question: yeah. What is the passive called?
Rocks, I think.
I'm upset that I'm upset that you knew that. That's I didn't actually know that, so I was genuinely gonna just look it up and be like, yeah, that's not what it's called. It's called this, but it might be. Maybe that would make sense.
I was gonna say I think it is rock surfing. I'm a Tilia player as well, so
I wish it was called Ride the Rock. That would be a banger
cool.
of a name.
Yeah.
It is. It's called rock surfing. So that's Riot. Get me on your team. You know.
Riot kind of taking the logical route forward there.
Yeah. Oh, Rocky Ride. Rocky Road. Rocky Road! Yo! There it is. That's what her ult should be called. Anyway, the moving away from
Ride on Rocker.
delicious confectionery. Back into the game. 4-0 currently score in this one, and the Eagles currently having their wings a little bit clipped, so looking to make some plays, but God at Prime might be looking for something onto Jules. That's the hop used now.
That's a flash coming through from Darius. Carries you as Jules stuck between an Echo and an Aatrox, just popped there. Only a blasting wand on this Echo. Didn't quite get the rage up quick enough, as now we see Sunny stepping up, is forced to try to sidestep. It's not quite enough. The True Shot Barrage goes wide. It's a third for Puya. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we see Ghost and Silence looking onto Bob, but it's not quite enough. The stun will land onto Silence. May lose their life. Trying to take Bob, will take Bob with them. Takes the Chrono Shift to the face, and now God is looking for Ghost. The Ghost has been made a Ghost, as it's a double kill for the Echo.
That went about as well as the Call of Duty Ghost did, didn't it? Unfortunately, there for the side of Eagles. I was expecting the top lane play to be played a little bit different. I think that once the hop is blown, Darius carries you can just back up, wait for another step up, then you go for the gank, but the flash is used instead, guarantees the play, and Jules just ends up going down. Across the board, it's advantage for the 7. They're looking pretty chillful in this one, as now Jules going Mega, might look for something, but getting chunked pretty effectively. I thought the composition wasn't great, but they're piloting it to success so far in this early stages.
Definitely are showing just why you can't underestimate comps that look a little bit shaky, already proving that they can be a menace. 3 deaths on this jungler, 2 on the mid laner, and possibly a second on the top laner, forcing Jules' flash there. It just feels like the Eagles, they've been silenced. It feels like they've had their wings clipped, their voice box has been a little bit thrown down. Ghost trying to get something done. The workaround boulder doesn't quite do enough damage at this point.
There's some irony, really, that the team with Talia are the ones that can't find their footing at the moment throughout this early stage. It just seems a little bit too easy. When an Ezreal can Mystic Shot, Arcane Shift forwards, you know it's rough, and Jules might be having it rougher.
Jules does manage to get the hop away, does go Mega, the Gnar will land. Bob is taking everything to the face, but isn't tanking tower aggro. We'll take that. Jules, very good play to keep himself alive for now, and now Silence is here to say, you don't get to live this. Spectral Maw lands as Darius trying to run away. The arrow doesn't land. The Weaver's Wall is here as well. Blocks Darius from escaping, and now Bob will fall to Ghost. Darius carries you will fall to silence, and God at Prime can only sit there and try, and will take Jules for his trouble. Silence now, looking, does dodge the Heartbreaker, but the Chrono Shift is down. There's nothing you can do. Another kill to silence.
Yeah, the heart gets Chrono broken there for the side of God at Prime. It's going to be 3 deaths over to the blue side, and suddenly you see the power of the Taliyah. The rotation comes through. They're able to pick up Menacing Bob, as well as limit the movement of the Aatrox. It's a turn-around kill set going over here to the Eagles. They're able to find a couple, and maybe now they have someone to play through. Silence is looking 3-3 in this one.
Things are definitely starting to look up and up. The Eagles, can they start soaring? We'll have to see as the game goes on.
And right now, it's just a case of finding the right angles. Because they've used so many tools, it feels like you've now got to sort of wait it out. Because think about it, when the Weaver's rule is down, Taliyah not really going to be able to do too much, whereas God at Prime is going to have a much lower cooldown on that Chrono Break. Instead, able to utilize effectively, and with this Herald Spawn too, you've got to keep your mid laner there. I feel like Ghost is playing a bit too far up, though. You've got to know that people are playing around the Herald right now.
It looks like they're just going to turn it into the Dragon. Silence is on his way, but has been spotted out. Ghost knows where God at Prime is, but it's looking like a 4 versus 4 as the arrow will land onto Bob. Can just take that Dragon. God at Prime will take the Whirling Death to the face of Spectrum, or will land the Heartbreaker. Breaks the Gragas open as Bob now next on the chopping block. Sunny and Choris both very, 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 very low. Silence as well. Ghost doing everything he can to keep his jungler alive, trying to do anything and everything. Looks like this will go down with no kills being exchanged to either side. Actually, that's a lie. It was a one for nothing. Sorry, for the side of the Eagles.
Yeah, it was silent but deadly. It came through. Ghost.
Okay.
Just almost became mortalized for a moment. Yeah. Did look like they were about to pass on to Nirvana after that one, but instead it's just going to be the tower that's going to be broken down instead of the mid laner.
Silence looking luck. Does get the cask and the ignite. Now Ghost and Silence both very, very low. That's one. A beautiful time winder from God. The animation cancel on that is beautiful, by the way. That was absolutely wonderful to watch. And now Ghost just has to sit and watch as his tower falls further and further closer to the ground.
The most impressive part about that was the E to intentionally hit the turret so that you're then in range to hit the Time Winder. That's the bit that the people will miss. That was really cool stuff there from God at Prime. Able to part this echo pretty well, showing why you're able to blind pick it in this situation is goodbye.
Luck will get the dash in as Puya will take an arrow to the face, but Ghost will die to the True Shot Barrage. The banana proving that even with its peel, it's deadly. As Charis now caught in the river by Bob, will be donated to Puya. It's a double kill for this Ezreal. 5, 0, and 0. Essence Reaver already completed.
I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took a fat man to the ankle. Bye-bye. That is not what they mean when they say you got your ankle broken. Jesus.
No, I mean breaking ankles. I think it's referring to good movement, not to being completely jumped on by a big fat man. As Puya will die to silence here, but Bob is there to be able to take it away. A big shutdown going over to this Viego.
I wonder if Lucknom isn't the full name, because there was it looked like Luck No More might have been a bit more appropriate, as there's no more luck for Ghost in the top bot lane.
Root will land, the stun will go down. But that parallel convergence will give a good shield, as now the phase dive. You just dive into the Taliyah's face and you send the Taliyah diving into the ground. 6 feet under to be precise.
I mean, it's just a case of if we can get a chance to look at the gold difference between these two mid laners right now. God at Prime is very, very strong. The Echo 6 and 1 on that one. Yeah, essentially half an item up.
Yeah, but look at this bot lane.
Yeah, but look at this top lane. Jules is in trouble.
Oh, well, yeah. Jules, again, being jumped on by everybody. A beautiful belly bop. But the cask then ruins it. As now Silence and Sunny are here. They're here to say you don't get to play onto my top laner without some punishment. The arrow will go wide. Silence, Spectral Maul lands onto Darius. As now we start to see, oh my lord, the damage, the healing! Aatrox, you're just not balanced, as Jules will take that one and now look for another. Chorus has to try and kite out God at Prime. Not
Chrono
quite
Break
taking
available.
the Drive Resonance. Ghost is there as well, but oh my lord! Chrono Shift does major work, as now Silence trying everything he can to get out alive, but Bob can just say no way! It's now got a Prime, has to run for his life. Can't quite get away from Ghost. Will dive back in with the face dive. The Tide Winder, the flash! Not quite enough to finish the kill as the rock will land to the face. Goodbye, my friend. God no more. As you fall out of your prime.
And the question remains, can they come back into it? Because the Eagles, ironically, using their feathers, it would seem, as certainly not actually dealing any damage on this Draven whatsoever when throwing at Darius carries you. However, it doesn't matter. They're able to get this Darius eventually, even if it takes some time. And it's something, right? They get the Aatrox, they get the damage, they get the kills. They're getting some shutdowns across the board as well. But they're still down 7,000 gold at this point. It's just too much. Can they fight the dragon? I don't know.
And the focus is in all the wrong places. Half of that gold lead is just on this Ezreal. 2 items now. Honestly, very close to a third. Herald has been dropped in that bot lane. Bob looking to secure Soul Point for his team. Looks like it will be done uncontested as Ghost, the only person rotating to try and answer this Herald.
The good thing about what's happening here, though, is that Puya is itemizing towards that more lethality itemization now. As the arrow does hit, wow.
Arrow does land as Ghost the Everfrost, but the cask will bring Ghost straight into the enemy team. Sunny will pick up his first. The Whirling Death lives up to its name.
I mean, at the very least, it is some gold to the Draven, but I imagine at this point the stacks weren't too massive here for Sonny. So at least you're getting something going. But Chorus
has to flash out. Honestly, that's not great. And now Puya is not even scared of this Viego.
Doesn't have to be fair. Silence is significantly behind where Puya's at, because this Ezreal 2 items spiking hard. This is Ezreal time as Gnar.
It's a beautiful Gnar into the wall. The stun will land. Got a Prime. Still has that Chrono Break. Jules going relatively low, but the arrow will land onto the Gragas, and you're just gone, my friend. As Ghost will pick up that one for himself, and got at Prime managed to escape without breaking the time-space continuum.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be fine. The ability to survive on this one, very, very good. Oh, Bob's here again.
And that's another jump. Silence here as well, forcing the TP from Ghost, as now Bob will pick up Jules. Got a Prime, using that Chrono Break to get back to safety, and now Menacing Bob is in trouble. Silence and Ghost are just wailing on him, left, right, and center. It's a shutdown going across to this Viego. Can they look for more? The Heartbreaker has just been reset as the Weaver's Wall comes through. Chorus, though, will fall in the mid lane. Got a Prime doing everything he can as the Parallel Convergence will land. The stun is good, but it's not enough. Silence will pick up a second. We see Puya pushing in this middle lane, getting good damage on the tower, but even better damage on the Draven. Can just play that a little bit more aggressively. But Silence hovering in the area will force them back for now.
I was actually just expecting to see Puya shift forwards and just go absolutely
so
ballistic and one-shot Sonny. But I guess maybe some fear of the summoner difference that could come into play. But overall, it's a great play here again. From the blue side of the rift, they're feeling really confident. They're feeling in control of this one. And I don't know how I feel about giving your 1 and 2 Draven the red buff. I think...
Yeah.
I know that you shouldn't say this, but my man's pretty useless right now. Draven only really brings damage, not a whole lot else. So if he's not bringing that, he isn't bringing anything. And I mean, I think the Gragas is dealing more.
Well, at this point. But of course, don't really need it on the Viego at this point, so I can kind of see it. Could also be a minute of, like, Draven's like, give me red, I carry.
True.
So,
True. Draven Hopium is a powerful tool for anyone who's ever been in solo queue. It's
yeah.
Tavon 1, formerly known as the Draven player, can attest that Draven players are all psychopaths. So anyway, moving into the rest of this game, it's all about setup now. We're all seeing the dragon. It's a minute and a half away. I want to see these teams start to contest the vision a bit more, because right now it's all blue side. Seven, since they've been able to set it up. Menacing Bob looking for more, but isn't going to find too much. I want to see this Aatrox play on the flank, get into that backline, and just delete these carries. Because if you can do that, the rest of the fight is very, very easy from there.
We will see a fight towards this bot side. Can't quite find the Spectral Maw onto this Aatrox. And now Silence jumping in. Luck is on the back side. Silence will be CC'd, but a double Gnar into the wall as Luck will fall. Darius carries you now, running for his life.
Yeah, perhaps was lacking in luck in that one, as Jules now being chased down. Not a lot of cooldowns to really go for this Gnar, though.
One, that's okay. The sweet spot does land. There is no flash for this Aatrox.
Yeah, this is the classic Gnar is kiting, and I don't think anything's actually going to come of it, but following.
Subjugate was used on Silence. Got it. Prime can pick that one up, and Chrono break to safety as Darius still running Jules down, but can't quite land those sweet spots. Is going very, very low. Jules may just turn this around onto the Aatrox. You can run, but you can't hide as another beautiful Gnar comes in. Another kill over to Puya. Bob will take the arrow to the face. The dragon is up in 5.
So that's like the general idea of Gnar versus Aatrox. It's just you kite, and Aatrox never gets onto you because you have jump. You've got the passive coming through from your W procs, which gives you a little burst of movement speed as well. And that ability to just always avoid those sweet spots, always stay out of his range, is just too much for Aatrox to really handle, especially when he does have his ult up to give him that movement speed. So Jules playing it very, very well. I think a bit greedy maybe from Darius Karaju. A little bit of a sunken cost fallacy, perhaps, with the amount of time that was invested there. Wanted to get some sort of return on investment. And unfortunately, the only investment they received was a crashing of the stock market in this one. So not ideal.
Yeah, it's... You can call it the prohibition because, I mean, it looks
it's
like...
a prohibition.
Well, no, I was going to say you can call it prohibition because just like when alcohol was banned and everybody lost out on their stock of that, Darius just lost out there. The arrow will go wide. Got a Prime looking to do everything they can onto Ghost to try and take them down. But the exhaust will come through from Chorus. There is no mana, but the Chrono
That's a lot of damage.
Break will one-shot the Ash. The Ghost will fall as well. Sunny will pick up a kill in return, but the Baron is now free pickings for the 7 Sins.
Yeah, but Jules is there. Might look for something, but you have to feel like it's just going to go over. Whirling Death in. Might get luck.
Nah, almost. Does manage to kill one, though.
Yeah, got luck. There you go. There's a kill onto the Draven, onto the Gragas. So at least that's one of the Baron buffs denied. So it is only going to be 3 members with it. Perhaps with this timing, you can look to hit this mid tower, get that down at the very least as an Eagles fan. But right now, it's not exactly a picturesque, perfect performance coming through from them. They're struggling a bit in this one. I feel like these Barons are going to be hard to deny, especially when Ezreal starts poking you under those towers.
And I mean, we have to talk about the fact that this Cloud Soul was also secured by the 7 Sins. I mean, an Aatrox, a Trundle, an Echo, a Gragas, an Ezreal, all can make very good use of this Cloud Soul. And we see a fight towards this bottom side. Silence forced to pop the Heartbreaker in defense to get away from the enemy team. And we're really starting to see the power of this Cloud Soul come through. You see it there. The True Shot Barrage gives Puya so much movement speed. Aatrox doesn't have to pop the World Ender, but when he does, he already gets movement speed, but he'll get even more when the time comes.
Aatrox can definitely get that speed boost, a little bit like Boostio, But whether or not we'll be able to be needed is the real question, because right now the poke is coming through, the split push is on, no one can really match up in their respective lanes. God at Prime is able to just wail away on Jules whenever they really want to in those short trades, blocking that passive effectively. And oh, engage.
Yeesh. Z-Drive Resonance is doing massive work, but stunned up on the spot. The Spectral Maw does manage to use the Cloud Salt to get to safety. Meanwhile, Horus will be found on the backside. Really see how much value this Cloud Salt has for this Echo. Not only do you get a massive heal, but you also get to speed away from danger. The CC not quite enough.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of a tough one. As I like the fact Menacing Bob is still trying. It's just still
Yeah.
going for silence the whole time. There's no stopping.
As we see the first inhib start to crack and crumble.
It's starting to. Sorry, had an issue on my side. Starting to break things down, and now that first brick has fallen in that mid lane, the first structure demolition coming to fruition, you've got to feel like it's just the first of many.
The cleanse has to be blown from Puya. The true shot barrage comes through. Silence going very, very low. Chrono break will come through. Bob doing everything he can, but that's a two-man seismic shove! As two fall back to back. God at Prime doing everything he can to survive. Does not have the chrono break. Used it to escape prior. Already, Bob and Luck are down. A beautiful seismic shove from Ghost, who did end up falling in that fight, but it's not going to matter massively. Suddenly, Puya doing everything he can, but there's so much speed as God at Prime goes back in, forcing the flash out of Sunny. Suddenly, Silence has fallen. Jules not quite close enough to Meganar. Will get out with an inch of health left, but it's not enough. God at Prime has that chrono break available again, so can continue to look for more. We start to see the beginning of the end for the side of the Eagles.
Yeah, they hold on for now, but the Eagles are limping away. Look at the health bar on Jules, blinking, lower, lower. But the fountain will help to heal that up. They can cleanse their wounds in the revival pit, shall we say. But unfortunately, I don't think they'll be able to do the same for this Elder Dragon if that comes online. Those burns are brutal.
Especially when we see how fast people are being melted down already. And I mean, what makes it even worse is you're into Ezreal, Gragas, Echo, Time Winders, Mystic Shots, Barrels. You just kind of go pop.
It's one of those war of attrition type things as well, because if you do get hit with one of those spells, then the burn starts to tick on top, and it becomes very, very hard to deal with. Even beforehand, this poke is going to be quite relevant, just to apply pressure, and Menacing Bob baits out the Unraveled Earth ahead of time, so now you don't have that as a defensive tool. Arrow does land, though.
Is now on the wrong side of the rift as the Walling Death catches onto two. Everfrost goes wide as Jules is into the backline with a four-man Gnar, but Puya says no more, friend, as Bob will take Silence. God will take Chorus. Ghost is doing everything he can against this Ezreal, but the Prowler's Claw comes in clutch. Sunny falls as well. It's a clean ace. 5-0 for the Sins as they look for the base. They look to take the Eagles down. Their wings are more than clipped. They're cut off.
Yeah, God may have found them, but they'll take them straight to the devil. Beautiful stuff coming through here from the Sins. They know what they want, they know what they find, and they're finding themselves a couple Nexus towers and a Nexus. Burn, baby, burn. Easy takedown.
And as we said at the start of this game, they didn't look too hot last time we saw them, but now they're scary. Now they look coherent. They look like they know where they need to go, what they need to do. And I mean, that was just a complete stomp of a game.
Yeah, it was definitely a cleaner performance. I think there are still some problems before I would rank this team as like the top or like one of the top teams, but they're definitely starting to make a case of being better than they were in the early weeks. The Sins have started to move forwards and progress, and I'm interested to see how long or how much they will improve throughout the rest of the split.
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing some really good improvement. Anybody who's watched the Eagles match before, they're improving. Anybody who saw the last of the 7SG games, no, they are improving. So we're only halfway through the split. Today marked the halfway point. And we mentioned a war of attrition coming to fruition towards the end of that game. But I would say that the standings are a war of attrition as well. Anything can happen. Any upsets matter. But that's all we have time for today, friends. I hope you have enjoyed 3 banger games. Have to give massive props to Recollect for going through half of the first one on his own.
Eventful.
Yeah.
It was a nice return to roots. That's what I would call them.
Fair enough. Understandable, honestly. So yes, Recollect, thank you for joining me today. And thank you all for tuning in and watching. We will next be live a week tomorrow. So not the 24th, the 31st will be the next stream. So if you care to catch that, follow, and we will see you then. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, and welcome to HOFL 2022, your favorite League of Legends tournament. The month-long event will have teams showcase their power through 2 divisions, crowning 2 HOFL champions. Let's take a closer look at this year's tournament format. Teams are divided by pools depending on their overall ELO rating. Each pool will be drafted into 2 groups. For more information on the seeding system, please head over to the HOFL's website. During the group stage, teams will play against each other in single round robin within their group. The top 3 teams will be drawn into the second stage, while those finishing 4th and 5th will get one less shot to progress by facing each other in a best of 3 series.